So, living in the north has its little perks. Like you wake up and all you see outside is white falling from the sky. It's cold. But that is not going to stop us today as we jump into our locals. So, what is up, you guys? It's your boy, Cyrus Obsidian, here at Obsidian Games, here to bring you another local diaries. So, let us dive in, see if we can turn up the heat a little bit, and maybe traverse the cybers as we see if we can swing into action for today's locals and maybe bring ourselves to a topping victory in the stars. But we don't know until we try. So, let us begin. So for today's locals, we are doing exactly what we did last week, except this time we are asking the chat. We have had my lovely wife come in, scramble up my decks into different deck boxes, and we are going to let the chat choose what we were playing. So let's take a look to see what chat has said. And it looks like chat has said we are playing deck box number 3. So let me grab deck box number 3. And let's see what we're playing for today. Honestly, kind of excited to see what we're playing. And alright, let's shoot for the stars in today's local diaries. So let me show you what we're playing, and then we'll head on over to locals to see if we can, in fact, top today's event. So just as a reference, I did roll die to decide what deck was going to be in each box. I had no idea what is in each box, so I just kind of rolled a die, picked the box, rolled a die, and we just let the die decide. So die again, chose number 3, and let me show you number 3. Alright, so let me just kind of breeze through this profile really quick. I have played Teller Knights before earlier this year, and I'm really excited to be playing it again. So we're going to start off with our Teller Knight lineup with 3 copies of Deneb, 3 copies of Laren. You really want to see these two always in your hand. And then you follow it with 3 copies of Altair, with 1 copy of Unicalhai, 2 copies of Alteran, 2 copies of Vega, 1 copy of Alsam, and 1 copy of Constellar Caduceus. So this is my lineup that I like to play. Most people like to play Altair at 2, Unicalhai at 2, Alteran at 1, Vega at 1, side out Alsam and Caduceus up with 1 Sheraton. But I haven't been able to pick up Sheraton yet. I've still been trying to find a decent copy of Sheraton without having to jump to TCG Player. But I might, depending on today's locals. Then we do follow up with our Stellar Knight spells to really just push the deck a little bit forward with playing 3 copies of Skybridge and 2 copies of Constellar Knight Teller Knights. So I like to play 2 and 3 because we want to see the Skybridge because it does dodge things like Imperm and Effect Veiler. And then the Constellar Teller Knights is just really great at just being able to get an extender on board, but also being able to rank up into another Teller Knight, which is really critical in some cases. Then we follow up with 3 copies of Sakitama and Reinforcement of the Army for our extenders. So we don't play Aratama because we want our normal summon being a Teller Knight. Sakitama is just a good reveal summon since most of our extra deck is just a generic level 4 monsters. So we do push a lot of forward there with power. And then we follow up with just a standard hand trap lineup of 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Crow, triple Droll, and triple Imperm. I think these are probably the best hand traps to play this format. I was on Nib for a bit, and Nib just hasn't been proving useful, except for that one time last week where it did. But that's aside the point. I think this is probably the best that you can roll with in any situation, especially since there are decks that like to use their graveyard, and if not, you don't need to play these hand traps. There are definitely others, and thanks to the rarity collection, you can definitely pick up other things that are better. Then we're going to just kind of blow through our extra deck here. We're playing 2 copies of Ptolemaeus, 2 copies of Trever, 2 copies of Deltros, 3 copies of Constellar Caduceus, 1 Battlemaeus, 1 Diamond, 1 Pleiades, 1 M7, 1 Typhon, and 1 Zeus. So Yeah, it is a straight just X seed heavy deck. I am contemplating before we head out swapping out one copy of Ptolemaeus and one copy of Trevere, or even just one Ptolemaeus, one Caduceus for the F0 package, since we can end on like multiple ranks and then we can just go into the F0 pretty easily. But I'm still deciding on that. We might before we leave if I can find them. But that is our extra deck, and then our side deck. So the side deck here is pretty much just a whole bunch of board breakers, like literally just a bunch of board breakers. 3 copies of Raigeki, 3 copies of Book of Eclipse, 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More, 1 Called By, 2 Teller Knight Genesis, and then triple copies of Evenly Matched. So I play the Genesis since it is searchable, and a lot of times I can end on multiple Teller Knights. So my opponent goes to try and set stuff with just Genesis to just say goodbye. Eclipse, so I like this. Go Dark Ruler, Eclipse, and then Raigeki the board, and then pop off. Since most of the times you can just pop off with 2 Teller Knights in hand, you know, being Deneb Lyrin, assuming that you are a god and you're able to get that kind of a hand. And then the Called By, just for hand traps to hit, because the deck does fall apart pretty easily to certain interruptions. So with that being said, let's head on out to locals to see how we do for today. So here we are at our locals for one of our last Saturdays here. Is my mic even on? Yeah, it's on. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta double check these things, right? So, round 1. We are playing Teller Knights, and honestly, I am so excited to be playing the deck, as the deck is one of my cherished since I picked it up in 2015 as my first deck next to Pendulum, and we play against a Red Eyes Kashtira deck. So we open up our hand with 2 Sakitamas, Imperm, and like the Constellar Teller Knights and one other hand trap in my hand. And the Imperm was enough to stop, so we just kind of revealed Saki, normal summon the Saki, and we just kind of popped off from there to take game 1. Game 2, he opens again. We hit him with the Ash this time. We also had the Imperm, the Veiler, Constellar Teller Knights, and Deneb, which was really great. We were able to break his board, set up a good board for follow-up, and then we just took it from there. Honestly, playing Diamond is really great, especially when there's a lot of dark decks in the format. And Red Eyes being a dark deck, we're able to just take it over from there. So, take round 1. Hopefully we're not playing against Dogmatic Akash again, but if we are, we will take the L, I guess. So, let's see what happens in round 2. And here are our other duels going on. I think we're done. I think they over there are the last ones. I could be wrong, but we'll see. So here we are at the end of, getting close to the end of the tournament in round 3. Still got some duels going on. And since I didn't record in round 2, we'll do a catch-up right now. So in round 2, we play against Trap Tricks, and every week I've gone against it and I have never won. Today is no different. We go to game 3 though, and in game 3 I was able to bounce Zeus, but he Zeused my board, even though he went past turn, and then it became my turn again. I let him take it back, which gave him the opportunity to use Zeus, and I just could not push forward from there. And then round 3 we play against Dogmatica Kashtira again, and I already saw where this was going, and we ended up taking an L, going 1-2. So game 1, he set up his board. I opened first. I couldn't set up the board because I did not have the hand. He broke it, and we won game 2. Game 2, I was able to set up a presence, was able to push, took it. Game 3, game 3, I just opened up crap. No extenders, no names, just all spells, traps. So we couldn't hold out, and we ended up losing. That's the one part of this deck where it just has no good draw power when you don't open your hands and you're not able to facilitate what you have in your hands. So we end up taking a loss today. No second place, so I guess I finally broke the second place streak at least, where I'm no longer taking second, but I did drop really hard, only winning in round 1, losing rounds 2 and 3. We're not mad, we're okay. But we'll wait till the end of the tournament and see what else
everyone gets, we can see what our price board is.
Well, that marks the end of that locals. So we ended up taking 5th place out of 8, which, to be honest, using Teller Nights, was hoping for a little bit higher, especially since the last couple of times I had played Tellers, I was taking 2nd place. But that was a different format then. We're in a totally new format now. Teller Nights was definitely not it for today. But we still had a lot of learning experiences with it. Not seeing engine versus seeing all the hand traps and the side cards and just keep drawing those rather than engine. There are improvements for the deck, but that will be it for Teller Nights as we wrap up our end of locals for today. Again, taking 5th was a little disappointed, but we have one more locals left to see if we can top here, leave our mark before we leave. So that is it for this local diaries, everyone. If you like the content, like and subscribe, and there will be more content coming here soon. I have some deck profiles that I want to upload, so I will be getting to those shortly. But everything past there, we'll have one more local diaries to go. So stay tuned, duelists, and we will catch you in the next one.